Hey guys, it's Rob Wylde from Midnite City here, and we got a new album coming out. It's coming out on June 23rd. It's called In at the Deep End. It's our fourth album, and we're really, really excited for it. It's definitely our best album to date so far. I know every single band says that, but we really honestly think that. So it's an absolutely killer album, and we can't wait to get it out.
Beautiful, Rob. Thanks for joining us today, mate. Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too, man. You too.
So as you mentioned, man, Midnite City will release your new album In at the Deep End on June the 23rd. Like, I know it's still a couple of weeks away, mate, but how are you feeling about it?
Oh, just so excited, mate. Yeah, we put a lot of work into this album. We spent about 3 months on this album actually recording it, and to us, I mean, it's definitely our best album. It kind of it's almost like a throwback to our earliest stuff. Especially, it seems to a lot of people are picking up on the fact that it has a similar feel to our second album, There Goes The Neighbourhood, and it's just the ultimate feel good, happy hair metal album. So yeah, it's we're just so excited that with the finished product because for once we're absolutely 100% happy with it. So that's a really good feeling.
Yeah. So tell us a bit more about the album from a musical point of view and what you were going for with it.
Well, I mean, in terms of the musical direction, like I said, I think it's a little bit back to our earlier sound. I think on the last album, Itch You Can't Scratch, which came out 2 years ago, I mean, there was still a lot of fun party rock songs on that album, but there was also some heavier songs, and also some. It was a little bit darker, a little bit heavier, a little bit edgier, and I think that all had a lot to do with the fact that the album was written and recorded during the whole COVID thing. So it just, yeah, the last one had a slight obviously everybody's out of the COVID situation. Everybody's in a much better mood, I think. People can go out, they can go to shows, they can hang out with friends, and we also switched our drummer on this album. We parted company with our old drummer, and he's brought a new lease of life to the band as well. So he's just one of those guys that he's just such a positive guy to be around, and he just almost gave the band a completely new lease of life. It almost feels like we're starting out again, really. And there's just a really good feeling in the band. We're really optimistic about the album and the future, really. So it's and I think you can hear that on the album. It's just the ultimate, like I said, the ultimate feel good hair metal album, really.
And you've released the singles Someday and Girls Gone Wild. So are they a good sonic representation of what to expect from the whole album?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we went with Someday as the first single because I think that's the most obvious sounding Midnite City song, really, or one of the most obvious sounding Midnite City songs on the album, and it just kind of captures everything that I think we do best, really, as a band. It's super melodic, super catchy, super poppy. Again, real feel good type song. So we put that out. I think that came out in April, and then Girls Gone Wild, which is our current single. That one came out last week, and we shot a video for that. So and the video, if you've not seen it yet, is well worth checking out. It's a really fun video where, like, during the video, each band member turns into kind of like a female version of, kind of like we went on a hunt to find five girls who kind of looked like each band member. And during the video, it was actually Sean's idea, the concept of the video, Sean, our keyboard player. And during the course of the video, one by one, we get replaced by the girl version. And then at the end of the video, we're not on stage at all. It's just five girls all dressed in our clothes, looking like us. So,
awesome.
so it was, and again, that song is just a real I knew as soon as I finished writing that song that that was going to be a single, because it's just again, it's just so hooky and so catchy, and you know, I think it's really important when you put out singles to really get people's attention straight away. You know, so it needs to be it just needs to be straight to the point, and that song definitely is straight to the point without a doubt.
This is your fourth album now, mate. Like, do you think Midnite City has found a sound you're comfortable with, or are you still sort of searching to an extent?
I think, yeah, I think we're comfortable with it. I don't think we really want to change anything. I mean, we tried to change a few things on the last album. Like I said, we there was definitely some heavier songs, and we experimented quite a lot on the last album, and I think some things worked and maybe some things didn't work as much. And we're very much, I think we're very much one of those bands that if it's not broke, don't fix it, you know. And it's kind of, we've got no intention of really cool, and people really like it, you know. And, you know, so we just kind of stick to what we do. And, you know, there is a couple of heavier songs on the album. The first song, Ready to Go, and then there's another song called Raise the Dead, which are kind of heavier songs. But I think it's just, I think we know what we do best, really, and we kind of stick to it. And you know, so far so good, you know.
Yeah. And you throw a bit of a curveball, mate, with the album opener, Outbreak. Like, I put it on, and that's a very industrial metal sounding thing. Like, I'm sitting there thinking, like, what the fuck? These guys just flipped everything on their head, and then it finishes 38 seconds later and it's gone. Like, what's the meaning of that?
It was just we haven't done an album intro on any of our albums, and obviously, I mean, everything that we do is 100% influenced by late 80s, early 90s, you know, American hair metal. So, you know, all those classic albums, like, you know, if you think back to the Danger album, Screw It, even, you know, Slippery and Wet with the big keyboard intro before Let It Rock. And I mean, there's so many albums that have you know, Poison's Flesh and Blood album. So we decided, you know what, we're going to put an intro on this album. So Sean came up with that whole intro section, and we're going to be using it live as well. So that's going to be our intro tape, and then we kick into Ready to Go as the first song on the set. So the live show will follow the kind of the Outbreak Ready to Go sequence on the album. But yeah, it was just, you know, we're just copying a lot of bands that we love, you know, with the classic you know, kind of 30-second intro before kicking into the first song, you know.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong, it works really well, and it's a great track, but it just confused the hell out of me. Like, I thought you were going industrial, like Static X, or that's what it sounds like. It sounds like bringing in a whole new sound. I'm like, what? Is this the same band? It fooled me. You got me anyway.
Oh, that's good. But yeah, don't worry, that will never happen. I don't think you can see me doing industrial music, can you, really?
Oh, shit. Like, I've got to admit, mate, like, I haven't heard a whole heap of Midnite City stuff, but the keyboards seem to be very prominent on this new album. Like, was that a focus going into it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, well picked up on. That was one of the main things we really wanted to sort, because our previous three albums had actually been produced and mixed by our old drummer. So with him out of the picture, we actually produced this album ourselves. But then when it came to the mix, we used a guy called Kris, who's just, he's actually a Grammy Award winning producer, and he's worked with bands like Europe and Crash Diet and Crazy Licks and Stevie James and a ton of guys. And he's a guy that I personally wanted to work with for years and years and years, doing the album. And actually, the first thing he said was, you know, what kind of sound are you going for? And we're just like, we want it to sound as 80s as possible. We're not interested in sounding contemporary at all. We want this almost to sound like an album from back in the day. You know, we changed the drum sound, so even though it's live drums, the drums are re-triggered, so you've kind of almost got that Def Leppard drum sound. And one of the main things that we said going into it is we really want this to be a keyboard heavy album, because our previous albums, the keyboards had always been a little bit buried, really. And I always felt that was, you know, a mistake, because, you know, a lot of bands, you know, don't have a keyboard player. They just put, you know, some keyboards in the mix, you know, buried a little bit. But the fact that we do actually have a, you know, a keyboard player in the band, and he's very important to the sound of Midnite City. And, you know, so we said, you know what, we need to wipe the keyboards up. So it is very intentional to put the keyboard, and it is a real keyboard heavy album. I mean, there's still tons of guitar under there as well, but yeah, it was time for it, you know, for people to really hear, because that's what we sound like live. You know, we sound like that live. And you know, the album, sometimes the keyboards got a bit lost. So and Kris Laney, he just got it straight away. And the first song he sent back was just, you know, it was just a rough mix, and it was already sounding incredible. So and he was just so into doing the album as well. He loved the songs. And you know, he just kept emailing us every day whilst he was mixing the album, saying, you know, this song is great, and this album's awesome, and you know, like every day, which was a real compliment coming from him. So yeah, but yeah, but good ears there, mate. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a much more keyboard heavy album for sure.
And Sean's that bloody good a keyboardist, mate. Like it'd be criminal not to put him right in the mix, because he especially live, he just goes off on those things.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he really does, and he's a really important part of, you know, like, you know, back in the, you know, the classic Bon Jovi days, you know, with Davey Bryan's keyboards, you know, it was a big part of that sound, you know, and a big integral part of what made those you know, Slippery and Wet and New Jersey, what made those albums so big. You know, a big part of that was the keyboard. So we definitely wanted to kind of utilize Sean and just bring him right up in the mix, which we did. And people seem to really like that sound as well, you know. So it's gone down great.
And you're setting out on tour to promote the album in June, starting in Birmingham on the 2nd and finishing in Belgium on September 9th, mate. So what can fans expect from those shows?
Well, I mean, you've seen us. We go nuts on on stage.
Well do.
Yeah, it's just the ultimate. I mean, we take everything that all our favorite bands did, you know, from Bon Jovi and Def Leppard and Poison and Danger Danger and Warrant and Kiss and all those bands, all those classic bands, and we sort of mix it all up and do our own version of it. It's just an ultimate feel good rock show. We're doing quite a few songs off the new album. I think we're doing about 6 songs off the new album. I think we're doing 3 off each previous album, so it's 15 song set list, and it's just going to be great. We're really looking forward to going back out, because even though we played a couple of shows at the end of last year, we played a festival out in Germany and a show over here just before Christmas, but we haven't actually been out on tour for well over a year. So we're really gearing up. We have a couple of really heavy days of rehearsal next week, and then we get things kicked off next Friday, actually, in Birmingham. So we're very much looking forward to it.
And I noticed you're playing in Grimsby as well, mate. So, like, is that actually a real place? Like, I thought Sacha Baron Cohen made it up for the movie, but it's actually real, is it?
Yeah, it's weird, because when you go to Grimsby, there's really nothing there, but there is a really big rock scene, and there always has been. I've been playing in Grimsby for well over 20 years, you know, and it's one of those places that sometimes the smaller the town, and the more unlikely a town it is, the bigger the rock scene is. And we always have a great show. It's a great venue. That, I mean, international touring bands, I mean, that's always, you know, on the, you know, the tour list. So I mean, you name a band, they've pretty much played Yardbirds in Grimsby. So and that's actually the last day of the tour. Well, the last day of the UK tour, which is July the 1st. So yeah, we'll be having a big party after that one, that's for sure.
I was looking through the venues and I came across Grimsby because I've just seen that movie and I thought the whole town was made up for that movie because it just doesn't look like it'd be a real place. And I'm just reading it going, well, there you go. It's real.
Yeah, it's real, man. It's real. Yeah.
Oh shit, eh? The last time you were in Australia, mate, was literally just before COVID break, mate. So are you game to come back over and try again?
Oh yeah. I mean, we had such a good time. We were so lucky with that as well because I mean, if it had been a week later, I don't think that would have happened because we landed in the. It's really funny actually because we landed back in the UK, and at the time when we'd been out in Australia, we were having such a good time and hanging out with our fans and obviously playing the shows, and we weren't watching TV, we weren't on our phones, so we weren't really aware of what was going on. The funny thing was, I remember the day after one of the shows, me and Miles, a guitar player, we stood outside the hotel, and Janet Gardner and Justin James, her husband, were coming back to the hotel, and they were telling us all about the toilet roll situation in the supermarkets, and they were saying there's no toilet roll, and we're like, what the hell are you talking about? There's no toilet roll. Completely, bemused by what was going on. And she's like, have you not been watching the TV? I mean, have you, and we're like, no, we're having a good time. And I remember going back to the hotel room and putting the TV on, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is maybe a little bit more serious than we thought it was before we came out to Australia. And then we landed back in Australia, and then I think it was literally a week later that the UK just completely got shut down, and that was it for, I mean, things kind of reopened a little bit, but I mean, that was pretty much 2.5 years of people's lives. But we had such a great time in Australia, met so many cool people, and we seem to have a good fan base over there.
Yeah,
so
actually surprised me a bit by like when you guys put on the show, like people were there to see you. Like I know there's a lot of other bands playing as well, but you guys were pretty much the focus of that whole tour. Like there's more people there to see you from my perspective, more people there to see you guys than probably Reckless Love what there was anyone else.
Yeah, it seemed that way. And then at the end of the night when we did the second show, we went over to the merch, and I was shocked. They gave us a merch sheet, and we'd actually outsold every single band on that day. So that kind of sums up kind of how well it went down. So yeah, at the minute I can't say too much about it, but there's a very good chance we may be coming back to Australia for actually a few dates. We're looking at 6 dates. Fingers crossed in January. Yeah, it's not 100% confirmed yet, but we're 90%. The contracts have gone back and forth, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks that will be confirmed. So, and we're very much looking forward to coming back.
Oh yeah, I've got to have a few rounds of shots with you this time, mate. I don't think we got to have too many drinks last time.
Oh yeah, definitely, mate. We're always up for a party, mate. You know that. So yeah, we'll have some beers.
The last band home every night. I was watching out of the 6 bands there. One of you guys was the last one into the hotel every night about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You're champions, absolute champions.
Yeah, well, we're from the UK, we like to drink. We're like you guys. We have a lot in common. We like our beer. So,
all right, Rob. Well, thanks very much for your time tonight, mate. It's been a pleasure chatting with you again. In at the Deep End is out on June the 23rd, and like I say, I've been fortunate enough to have a listen to it, and it's a damn fine album, bro. So congratulations, and hopefully we do see you out here just after Christmas.
Yeah, that'd be great, Kris. And like I said, thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to me, and hopefully see you early next year.